Um, the endocrine glands are everything to you. And they're being really suppressed now with just the genetics of the congestion of the human body. You know, we've suppressed the pituitary. We've really broken down the human colon to it's a mess. So the human colon, particularly, remember I said the transverse portion of the bowels relate to the head area. So really, when you see that, the thyroid is the id or the ego. When it's weak, you don't have much of a self-image. Of course, your depressions come from the parathyroid, your emotions from your adrenals. So, in a physical stance, you want to go after the health of cells of those tissues, and they will then relate into the etheric counterpart and grab in there, because the only other way is to be in the now, to where you separate yourself. The less body conscious you are, the better. Initially, you could get so body conscious. I did. It was like, oh, what's that little pain? What's that little problem? You get too body conscious, and then it pulls you down into this world. Be in the now. That pulls you out of that and get to who you are. Live in you. Be you. And then let your bodies work themselves out as you then do everything you can to follow the laws of each universe, of each realm, you know. And so each realm, there's emotional laws, there's astral laws, there's etheric laws and stuff. But, you know, basically if you be in the now, then you don't have to worry about all these laws or following this, because you're letting the highest power flow through you there is. That's where the most power is in the now. That's where it all is. And so that's what you're doing. You're pulling yourself into the eternal now. That's where the infinite is. And you're using that infinite power. That's the highest form over crystals, over everything else, is the ultimate power of consciousness itself. And so that is the strongest thing to do. And then in the physical sense, you can control what you're eating and fix that up and use the glandulars, use the herbs if you want, whatever you want to use to enhance the function of the endocrine glands, and you will start rebuilding that self in that. But you will already do it by being in the now. It's like raising the Kundalini. You can raise the Kundalini up the chakras, or you can just start with the crown chakra and go on. You can spend lifetimes playing up and down the chakras. You could simply start from the crown and go on. In other words, you are always the highest thing you can experience there is, except the Supreme Being, which the question is, how do you experience the Supreme Being? You're the doorway. You're the only doorway there is. Jesus said it, Buddha said it, Moses said it, everybody said it. You're the doorway, and you have to go through you. You're the only way. There's nowhere you can travel to find that. You can't get in a spaceship and go visit God. Can't do it. You're still in creation. So get to that you, and you'll repolarize yourself. Thanks. Now here's quite a good one. This person did a lot of raw gourmet, vegan cooked, and raw with raw dairy. Oh, raw dairy. You know, yeah, but since she was a teenager, she's run hot in body temperature with fairly regular excessive sweating. Sounds like you have a little overactive thyroid there and some mild anxiety. So sounds to me that you had a little overactive thyroid, yet low adrenal glands here. Last few years I smoked on and on, and I finally stopped again in April. After stopping the smoking, life just got better. It does get clearer, you know. I used to like that myself, just to relax. You know, I've got friends that are medical doctors, and when they come to the state, they always call me and say, "Can you get me any?" Because they distribute it in California, and many medical doctors smoke marijuana. And of course, many medical doctors in my town are cocaine freaks. I mean, there's a lot of them. Everybody knows who they are. They're cokeheads. And it's like, well, okay. A lot of lawyers and judges in this town smoke pot too. I mean, you'd be surprised who does what. You know, nobody's being truthful about nothing, and that's what I can't stand. So you're always going to find me truthful. Hard to take, I hope not, but I'm always going to be truthful about things. But I'm more clear. You don't need to have anything to make you high, because you have to make yourself high. You know, a medjool date will make me high enough. Those medjool dates are incredible. I love them. Someday I'll tell you about my Twinkie story, but I reached nirvana one time eating a Twinkie. That was incredible. I wonder what those masters were trying to do to me that night. That was wild, man. Oh well. Let me see. You took dosages of iodine. I thought I addressed this, but never want to do iodine. That stuff, and this is why the hyperthyroidism. Obviously, you never do iodine. We have enough in us already, and if you're hyperthyroid, you never do iodine, or you'll get yourself wired out of limits. You'll be like Mick and Fleetwood Mac. Well, not Mick now, but Mick in the older days. This is taking weight down to 122. After this period, I wake up call on many levels. My consciousness has expanded. Good work. I started on a low-fat, high-fruit diet. Good work. Let's see. However, lately I've been noticing symptoms of thyroid adrenal imbalance. No kidding. You've already had them. You're just waking up to what's going on with you, bro. So you've already had that problem. That's why all these symptoms you were telling me through the years, this is what you have. And so you're just going to be more aware of it. That's why you can use the glandulars or use herbs and really get into the endocrine glands and really start working. I would. All the berries are good for endocrine glands. Dry leg, dry skin, of course. You got a lymph problem. You got to dig in and move your lymph. Fatigue after eating even fruit. Well, even though fruit has the highest electromagnetic energy, in other words, its aura shines the brightest in all the food. Vegetables come down second, way down second, actually, about 3,000 to 4,000 angstroms. That's considerable. That's half as much as most humans give off totally is the difference between fruit and vegetables. Then you subtract the energy it takes to digest vegetables over fruit matter, and you're at a much loss leader eating vegetables than fruit, magnetically speaking. But this is nerve energy. I mean, this is the adrenal glands. You're feeling fatigue from your adrenal glands. There's no epinephrine or norepinephrine in these fruits. They're not. If you have a lot of candida, maybe. But remember, mold doesn't grow on fruit unless they start to ferment. It grows on fermented foods, cheeses, breads, things like this. Watery eyes when yawning. So your lymph is really backed up. That's your lymph system there. And you really got to move your lymph system. I have put back on weight over 3 months. I just had about 137. Well, you're seeing this is the one I said you're on a 3,500 to 4,000 calorie diet. I don't pay any attention to that. But really, keep working on your kidney and adrenals, Christopher, and move your lymph. Get into your bowels, clean up your bowels, and really move on your lymph. If that's in the picture, you look like a young fella. So you really have those genetics in those, and keep working on them. Something had to cause the hyperthyroidism early on. It could be the pituitary, or it could be iodine stuck in the thyroid. Inorganic iodine will stay in the thyroid and stimulate it for years. So just keep detoxifying yourself. We have an endocrine gland herbal formula, we have an adrenal herbal formula, and then we use the glandulars on that. But remember I talked about this before, hyper always goes hypo. In the end stages, everybody fails. Everybody goes down. So anything that was hyper will end up going hypo, and chronic is always much more difficult to deal with than subacute. You have 4 stages: acute, subacute, chronic, and degenerative. So acute is the beginning stages of something. Just pain you're just starting, mucus congesting from eating a bunch of cheese. Keep suppressing that and it becomes subacute. And most people don't have a clue at the subacute levels, except maybe somebody becomes hyper or hypoactive a little bit. But then when things really get chronic, that's when we really go, whoa, wait a minute here. I'm just so tired. And a lot of kids are coming in with chronic level adrenals and kidneys and things. So we're bringing people out of the chronic and oftentimes degenerative areas in the young people and have to bring them all the way back through those stages to a state of health again. So it's some work, and it's just what we're up against. And I love about you guys, you're right on, you're right there, and I really appreciate that. I hope these are used as educational videos, because the physicians out there, we got a lot of work ahead of ourselves. We got to drop all this pseudo thinking of pharmaceutical crap and stuff like that. Someone asked me if I could give a talk on 2012. Maybe. This is, oh, I see you all the time. Uh, uh, I don't know if you haven't what your name is here, sweetheart, but you have arthritis in my toe and fingers. Suffer from acid reflux. If I go all raw, it goes. Diagnosed with osteopenia due to a fall and a broken bone in my shoulder. Well, it didn't heal well, did it? Well, because you're not moving your lymph. I mean, when you say acid, that's all you need, that first word, acid. And acid reflux isn't just in the stomach. You have acid in the joints. Whenever you feel your joints, that's acid. You feel your feet, that's acid. You damage. When you're acidic and you have trauma to tissue, it never wants to heal right. And then you can get osteopenia or osteoporosis because you're going to lose calcium in the effort of the body to deal with that acid. And it's just sitting there chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing. It's like having a party and nobody wants to go home. And that's, you got to make everybody go home. And that's moving these acids out of your body there. And that's real important. You're almost healed now. Well, dig into that lymph, sweetheart. Get in there and get that lymph moving. Get your kidneys and adrenals. That'll bring up your steroids as well. But get those kidneys filtering and let this heal up. If you're low in your parathyroid, take a parathyroid. Accelerate the putting the calcium back in the bones. I'd be looking at my parathyroid. If this is your picture, I can tell you got kidney and adrenals. So you really want to work on this, sweetheart, and get those going. She's 57 years old. She's in pretty good health. She's a little overweight. Well, you can see that, and that's your adrenal glands. But you fix all that up. You really got to fix that. Adrenals controls kidneys, and that reaches up in the shoulders, it reaches in the breast. You can get fibrocystic breasts if you're not careful here. You know, this will reach everywhere, hips, knees, ovaries, so uterus, so be careful here, honey. You should dig in. You're thinking about the Hill-All tea. Well, you can use that and get high up on the fruit, the grape fast, and play with this. Keep digging deeper into the body. Get up on some fasting and play with some fasting issues here and help move that lymph. If you can, kidneys, something for the adrenals, the lymphatic system, and the GI tract, that Fab 4. Always the Fab 4. I don't care what you write me with. I'm going to keep tying you back to that because that's the essential causative factors of the human body. I think a lot of you are starting to understand the human body in simplistic terms and notice that not a big deal. We should have learned the human body more in simplistic terms earlier on in our lives, wouldn't you think, in 2011? This was asking me about some belly fat, and I wouldn't know about that. Oh, God. I'm almost 20 years old. 20 years old. And since I was 17, I started having thinning of the hair on top of the head. That's not good. Well, what does that mean? All right. My hair doesn't grow long anymore. So she's losing hair and she's not growing hair. Is this a girl or a man? I don't know. Or is it diet, foods, herbs I consume to help regrow my hair? I'm not sure what else to say. Okay, so this is about